Welcome back. Oura Ring, Ultrahuman Air Ring, Ringconn Ring. Which one should you get? Stay tuned. We'll talk about the pros and cons of each. Let's chat. Now all the rings, they come in black, silver, and gold, but with the Oura and the Ultrahuman Ring, there's two added colors. One is a stealth color, it's like a very dark gray, and then next is the titanium color, which is the newest color for both. Ultrahuman just coming out with it. It's not even available on Amazon yet. Oura and Ultrahuman, they sell their rings on Amazon, not just direct, but also on Amazon. Oura also sells it in Best Buy and Target, but the titanium's only available direct at the moment for Ultrahuman. I personally like the titanium colors or silver colors, and so for the Ultrahuman and the Oura Ring, I got titanium, and the Ringconn, who doesn't have a titanium color, the next closest color is silver. So that's what I have here. Now these rings have sensors obviously underneath, and that's how they track your health metrics. Oura Ring has 3, the Ultrahuman has 1, and Ringconn in the middle has 2. Now, a lot of people, they find that maybe some of these might feel restrictive or uncomfortable. I don't notice them at all. They all feel comfortable to me. I can't tell when one ring has more sensors than the other. The only concern I have is about accuracy. Is the Oura Ring with 3 sensors more accurate than the Ultrahuman that has 1, or the Ringconn that only has 2? We'll see in just a moment my own findings. However, comfort is not going to fit into my decision on which one I intend to keep and use every day. As for thickness, they're all pretty much the same. We're talking difference in a millimeter or half millimeter. The Ultrahuman's gonna be the slimmest with a thickness of 2.4 millimeters. Then the Oura comes in at 2.55 and the Ringconn at 2.6 millimeters. Again, I'm not fitting this into my decision on which one to keep. They all feel the same to me. Now, which ring smudges the most? In my experience, the Ringconn does. If you get a little bit of dirt on it or anything, it smudges. You could wipe it off. But still, I just noticed that it smudges the most. And then next is the Ultrahuman, and then the one that smudges the least is the Oura Ring. When it comes to exercising, make sure you take off the rings first, because you don't want metal on metal contact. It's gonna scratch up the rings pretty bad. Now, all rings measure your heart rate variability, your blood oxygen, your skin temperature, but there's some differences, and that mainly comes down to the apps. You'll see in just a moment the accuracy amongst all rings in the apps. And I've also compared it against my Apple Watch. I use an app for my Apple Watch called Athletic, and I'll put some information in the description below on that. But that's where I'm using as my gold standard to test the 3 rings against. What's interesting is that out of all 3 rings, only the Oura Ring is the one that's posted sleep studies to their website that shows that the ring has an 80 to 90% accuracy when compared against the gold standard of sleep analysis, which is a polysomnograph device. Now, there's a data scientist on YouTube, and he goes by the Quantified Scientist. I'll put a link in the description below to his channel, but he tests out a whole bunch of different sleep trackers, including the Apple Watch, the Oura Ring, and many other different devices against the polysomnograph device. And I don't believe he's tested the Ultrahuman or the Ringconn yet, however. I couldn't find a video on those. And he finds that his favorite sleep tracking device is actually the Oura Ring. Even though the Apple Watch tests higher in accuracy, this video is about rings and not watches. Now here's some unique features about the rings. First up is Ultrahuman. The Ultrahuman app actually is my favorite because it has a lot of unique features. First, it has a circadian rhythm feature. And what that means is it tells you when bright lights are good or actually beneficial for you to be in the sun, and when you should start avoiding sunlight and other things as well. Another feature that's really cool in my opinion is the caffeine consumption. It'll tell you based on your sleep and your health metrics that it's recording that you should actually wait in the morning, hold off from having caffeine, just wait a little longer because you'll have a better reaction to the caffeine. It'll actually help you become better stimulated if you wait just a little while longer. Then it'll tell you later in the day when you should start tapering off. But what's really cool about the app is when you go into the caffeine, and I'll pop this up on the screen, when you go into the caffeine section, it'll give you a list of different drinks that you could drink and their caffeine levels. So if you're going throughout the day where you should start tapering off of caffeine, but you still want a little kick, it'll tell you some drinks, some examples, whether it's teas, coffees, or other things, and what their caffeine levels are. So check that out. Another cool feature about Ultrahuman is that they also sell CGMs that tracks your blood glucose. Now, I personally haven't tried it. I think it's pretty cool that you could combine the metrics from the Ultrahuman Ring with the CGM and see combined metrics together in the same app. Something else I like about the Ultrahuman app is that there's a lot of insightful messages that come up throughout the day. Some people don't like them and think there's too many. I personally like them. I don't think there's too many messages, but I like how it's telling me about my circadian rhythm and how that's changing, my caffeine windows, and other insightful messages like to stretch my legs and get up off my ass. Now let's talk about the Oura app. Something that I think that's really cool is something called latency. It tells you how long it took for you to actually fall asleep once you were trying to fall asleep. And so while Ultrahuman and Ringconn, they may talk about latency and put a little progress bar, Oura actually puts the amount of minutes it took for you to fall asleep. Next is something for females, and there's integration with a service called Natural Cycles. It's an app that supports the Oura Ring to determine if you're ovulating. No other ring at the moment, at least from my understanding, supports this. And finally, Ringconn. Something that sets Ringconn apart is that Ringconn lets you measure your blood oxygen 24/7 throughout the day. So if you want to know in the middle of the day, what's my blood oxygen levels? You just open up the app and you push measure and it'll tell you. That's the only ring that does that. I don't know why Ultrahuman and Oura, why they don't do that. I've reached out to Ultrahuman and they told me that that feature is coming out in a future update. There was no timeline that was given, but Ringconn's the only one that will do that. An area where Ringconn stands out is that they're trying to get FDA approval to have their ring be a sleep apnea tracker. Now, I happen to get into the beta test of it. I can't really go into it or show anything on the screen, but it's a really cool feature. It gives you a report at the end of the day, or when you wake up, it gives you a report and it tells you your sleep apnea index and tells you if you had any apneas and things like that. It's a really cool feature, and that'd be great for the other two rings to join in on this. Something else that sets Ringconn apart as well is the way it charges. Now, it's not a huge deal to me, but it may be for some, is that for Oura and Ultrahuman, you place your ring on a wireless charger. But with Ringconn, there's no wires involved. You put it in a little ring case, and you could bring that with you. And while it's in the case, just like AirPods, same idea. If you stick your Ringconn in the case, you close the case, you could put it in your pocket, throw it in your bag, and it's charging while you're on the go. Here are the sleep index pages for all three apps. All the way to the left, you'll see the Oura app, the middle is Ultrahuman, and to the right is Ringconn. And you'll see the total sleep varied greatly actually between the Oura Ring and the other two. So Ultrahuman coming in at 7 hours, 23 minutes that I slept, and Ringconn saying that I slept 7 hours and 46 minutes. But the Oura Ring only says 6 hours and 56 minutes. Now, if we compare it to my Apple Watch using the Athletic app, the Apple Watch comes in at 7 hours and 30 minutes, exactly 7.5 hours. So what's the closest to that? It's the Ultrahuman, and Ringconn is not far off, but the Oura Ring, surprisingly, is the one that's off the most. Next, we'll look at sleep stages, and you'll see all the way to the left, for example, if we look at my deep sleep, Oura says I was in deep sleep for 58 minutes, while Ultrahuman in the middle says an hour, 18 minutes. And Ringconn on the right also says an hour and 18 minutes. And what's interesting is the Athletic app with my Apple Watch also says 1 hour, 18 minutes. So again, surprising to me, I'm finding the Oura to be the least accurate. All three rings appear to be pretty much the same. Oura and Ultra Ring, they said my lowest heart rate was 62 beats per minute, while Ringconn says 61, and the average for Ringconn is 73, while Oura and Ultrahuman said my average was 75. Now, going into blood oxygen, something I really like about the Oura Ring is you'll see I actually have two Oura Ring app pages up here, screenshots, then the Ultrahuman, then the Ringconn, and you'll see all the way to the left at the bottom for Oura, it shows my average oxygen saturation is 97%. But then just to the right, the screenshot shows throughout the night when I had variations in blood oxygen. Now the other two apps do not do this. You'll see Ultrahuman, which is the third from the left. It shows my average oxygen saturation is 99%. Something I'm skeptical about with Ultrahuman is that it always shows 99 or 100%. I've never seen it say 98 or below ever. And then Ringconn, for some reason, I'm always around 90%, 91, 92, and I just have a hard time thinking that is accurate. So which app's my favorite? Well, Ultrahuman. Ultrahuman's my favorite because of those features like the circadian rhythm feature, the caffeine feature. I like the little insightful messages that pop up throughout the day. Now, Oura does the same thing, so does Ringconn. Oura is also pretty just like the Ultrahuman. I think Oura is probably the easiest to use, even though very close to Ultrahuman. They both look very similar. Ringconn, even though I think gives you the most data, if you're really into deep diving into the data, Ringconn will have all that data and show you everything bit by bit, but I think it's the least prettiest. Overall, I like the Ultrahuman app just because I like the layout the best. I like the data it puts out. Ultrahuman, I think, gives you the least amount of data, but not because it doesn't have it, but more to make it more simplified. Ultrahuman will give you a little more of that data, although the Oura, like I mentioned, does give you a couple of points like issues with your blood oxygen throughout the night. It'll tell you when those occurred, and it'll also tell you your sleep latency, while the others do not. So that's interesting about Oura. What about syncing with Apple Health or Google Fit? All three rings do that. They all sync with Apple Health and Google Fit. However, all three do not sync blood oxygen metrics. I have no idea why. Now, I contacted Ringconn. They said their next app update will include blood oxygen sensing or syncing with Apple Health. However, that update came and gone, and they didn't live up to their word. So that's Ringconn. For Ultrahuman, I contacted them and they said it's coming in some future update. They didn't provide a timeline, so we're waiting on that. Oura, I don't know. I didn't hear back from them as to whether they're planning to implement that or not. However, I did find on the internet that someone made an Apple shortcut that will actually sync your blood oxygen with Apple Health. So if you wanted more information on that, the shortcut makes it so every time you open the Oura app, it'll sync your blood oxygen with Apple Health. Comment below if you want some information on that. So out of the three rings, which one am I going to keep? It's very hard to decide. I like all three. But as I was prepping to film this, Ultrahuman just dropped an app update, and they've been dropping app updates pretty often, which I like to see. I'm a techie. I love seeing new features, new updates come out quickly. And now the app will tell you, based on your health metrics that it's recording, when you should go to sleep. It gives you a time frame or this window of time when you should go to sleep. And then also it tells you even your estimated cardiovascular age. And if you're a lot higher, it'll give you some insights on how to reduce that cardiovascular age, which I think is a pretty neat feature. But that just goes to show Ultrahuman is pushing out these updates really fast. What's funny is that last week, Oura announced that they were coming out with their updated app to say what your cardiovascular age was. And just after that announcement, or maybe a few days after, that's when Ultrahuman actually updated their app, beating Oura to it. So for those reasons, I'm going to keep Ultrahuman. I like all the rings, the colors, how they feel. I like all the apps. They're all fairly good. But Ultrahuman, in my experience and my opinion, I think is the best. Or in Ultrahuman, they sell, like I mentioned, in many different areas. I would go to Amazon because Amazon will get you the ring in 1 or 2 days, where if you order direct, it can take 1 or 2 weeks to get your ring from Oura, Ultrahuman, or Ringconn. But Amazon's the quickest. Ringconn is not on Amazon yet, but I'm going to drop down an Amazon link for the Oura Ring and the Ultrahuman Ring. If you have any questions about any of the rings, my experience, or any questions at all, feel free to leave a comment below and I'm happy to answer them. Thanks for watching.